Hello, this is Warwick, and I have another quick lesson for you, and this one is sort of vague, and it isn't going to give you much help. It might actually push you out of trading, which it's not the plan, but at least you can find out now whether trading is for you or not. I'm going to talk briefly about why trading can be so difficult. My name is Warwick. I'm with NoTraderLeftBehind.com. And why trading can be so difficult. Here's my quick theory. The sales and marketing assholes, excuse my French, pardon my French, they sell you on how easy it is. Well, the concept of pushing a button to just buy or sell is very, very easy. Yes, I can push a button to buy, and yes, I can push a button to sell. I just click a button. The physical aspect of pushing a button is very easy. The decisions behind that click is a completely different story. It's another story completely. You've got psychology, temperament, your edge, lifestyle, your current needs, your situation, and your relationship with money. That's a big one. You know, some people are very attached to money. Some people don't really some people can be flippant with money, and that will determine your risk factors. If you take higher risk, you will lose more. So your up and downs will be greater. If you take less risk, your returns will be smaller, and your drawdowns will be smaller. Generally, that's the math behind it. That's all you got to know. The bigger the risk, the more you lose, but the more you gain. But the bigger your roller coaster ride. So there are many more factors that can mess you up, but those are the main ones. I've got this horrible thought here. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing expecting a different result. Well, guess what we do as traders? We are to find a pattern in the markets that works for us and do it consistently. Even when it fails, we are to keep doing it. So we are doing the same thing and we are getting different results. Does that make us insane? That's the question. Essentially, you do this by doing lots of trades. You do them consistently, and you do them over various time frames. So you do a lot of testing. Here's a quick explanation by this guy who's saying that, is it possible to be a successful trader? Well, the only way to do it is to lower your emotions, and the lower your emotions, the more of an expert you are. And then he comes up with, this isn't that brain this isn't that revealing, but the more intelligence you have over time, the better of a trader you'll be. So when you get your intelligence up and your emotional quotient down, you will meet in the middle and become a professional trader. He doesn't really say what happens after this, but maybe that's the point at which things happen. So professional traders can cut losses on time with no remorse. Now that's probably a good thing, and cut your losers quickly and let your winners ride. Those are the two things that make a trader professional. But there's a conflicting report which is relatively consistent scientifically, that decisions are emotional and not logical. And there's a whole neuroscience behind decision making. And I'm not sure who this girl is. I have no idea. She's not that relevant to the picture, but she's just putting her hand on her head. But there was an article that I have read. This particular guy, we won't get into him, but he found out the part of the brain where emotions are created, that they weren't using logic to make decisions. They were using emotion to make decisions. And there was also another interesting story, which I can't find on the internet yet, but I do have it in a reference to a video that, and I will put the link at the bottom of this, where a lady who had a motorcycle accident lost the connection between her brain to make decisions. So she had no more emotions. And they took her to the grocery store, and her husband was with her, and she basically cried, saying, I can't decide which type of ice cream to have. There's too much information coming in, and I just cannot disseminate all this information. I want to go home. And what had happened is she had no emotional attachment to anything. So she therefore could not make a decision. So our brains are wired with emotions for a very good reason, because it allows us to make decisions. So without emotions, we basically don't make decisions. It was a fascinating video. You don't have to watch the whole thing. Just pick out what I told you, and that is, without that wonderful connection from the brain to emotions, you do not have a decision-making process. So the last part of this hurdle, so we actually need emotions. That's kind of hard to believe for traders at this moment, but you do need emotions to make a decision. So you have to train your brain with the emotions and to get over a lot of the gamblers' sort of humps, I'm going to call them. The gamblers' hurdles. Because you'll get into gamblers type situations which casinos play on all the time, and you will lose if you get into the gambling mentality. So we do a lot of testing as well. Another hurdle, which is really kind of the most frustrating thing ever, is that once you get a system, it could stop working at any time. And that's because the markets are not consistent. You have to be adaptable. You have to be able to change your system. And you have to be able to recognize when it's not working. End of story. So, okay, now it's end of story. So essentially, I'm just giving you this lesson to let you know why trading can be so difficult and what are some of the horrible things that go through in the process of learning how to trade. You might not be able to handle this, and that's why I'm telling you now that it may not be for you, and it may be best to go do something else. But if you want to do this part-time and keep with it and stick with it and train your brain to sort of get over the hurdles of what can be frustrating at most times, and that is becoming profitable. So the question is, can you overcome these problems, and can you overcome these difficulties to become profitable? That's it. That's all I needed to show you, but I wanted to make sure I did this early on in the Forex lessons so that you were at least aware of it, and you know, hopefully help you to not waste time. Anyway, I'm not dissuading anyone, but remember, it's not as easy as those people say in those expert advisor ads, that all you have to do is push a button and you can make $1 million in a year, or even 100,000 in a year. Anything's possible, but you have to become realistic in your actual results. So make sure you add a bit of realism. I mean, is that $29 robot going to make me $1 million in 2 years? What are the chances of a $29 robot making you $1 million in a couple of years? It's really wishful thinking, and then you get into the lottery thinking, and then you get into the gambler's mode. So try and stay away from that. And that's the best I can do. So there's your answer to why trading can be so difficult. I'm trying to be uplifting, but I'm not able to really. So anyway, have a great day. Keep smiling. There's a lot of hurdles to overcome, but anyway, think about what I've just said. Have a good day. Well, try to.